wanted to show a few of my stoves that I've made. These couple of alcohol stoves. This is made from a beer can. Pretty simple. Has an internal wall so it pressurizes, and it's got vent holes cut in it. This is the same thing. I just kind of cleaned it up a little, sanded it, shined it up. I've got a little alcohol in there. I'll go ahead and light it and let it heat up. Once it heats up, it'll start coming out of these jets, and it'll heat up a couple cups of water in about 6 minutes. And then the same thing here. All this is a cat food, or what's called a cat stove. And I made a little base for it and everything, but it's basically just a can. Very simple. Works great. Same thing. Light it up. Once the fluid starts vaporizing or boiling, it's ready to go. This one here, you have to have a stand where you can, when you set your container, your water container or food container, you set it above it, and as you can see, it works really nice. Of course, if you set it all the way down on it, it would snuff it out. This one here works on a little different principle. Once it starts boiling, the container, it works as its own stand. These are fantastic for just little simple hikes, and when you want to just cook up a quick container of coffee or ramen or anything like that. These will do the job on no more than an ounce of alcohol. Amazingly light and amazingly small amount of fuel. But you can find these on YouTube, all kinds of videos. Just look up beer can stove, alcohol stove, cat stove. Tons of videos, lots of websites, patterns. There's so many variations. It's crazy, and they're great. All right, the water's boiling in the cat stove, and it actually took less than 5 minutes. As you can see, it's just boiling away. That's about 2 cups of water. So as you can see, it's very efficient. That was about 3/4 of an ounce of fluid. Very, very little. Just amazing. This is, I love this cat stove. It's so simple. No moving parts, and it's its own stand. Next up is that little propane stove I got at the yard sale. The Primus Trail Scout single burner. It's got a knob. Not a whole lot to it, but this thing is insane. It's like, I mean, it can turn into a blowtorch. Heck, it could be a heater. But I'll show that real quick working. I cleaned it up and works great. Alright, that is nearly on off. I mean, as low as I can. That right there is plenty good to cook something or boil something. And you just barely turn it, and it becomes a raging inferno. So this thing is amazing. It'll burn a long, long time on a can of this if you use it, you know, sparingly. But that's the single burner little propane stove. Great, lightweight. Okay, I'll set that down. Okay, this is the 2-mantle Coleman. It's hard to show because the thing is just so bright, but and I couldn't. It was hard to light with one hand, but it works like a charm. I put some new mantles in it, cleaned it all up. I had to take this all apart and clean it out, and put a new little seal in the cap to get it working right. But it works great. Fantastic little lantern, very bright. So that's the little Coleman lantern I got, and I'm showing this because I had a couple different people ask about it. Do they work, and show it working, and so I'm just throwing this quick together. But yeah, extremely bright. And here's the Coleman stove, the 1978 stove. As you can see, it's just very nice and new and clean, but it did have some old fuel in it, and a little bit of grit and dirt. I ended up having to take this whole metering part apart and cleaning it up, and it had I was having trouble holding pressure, so I pulled this assembly apart, and there's a leather cup that I had to clean and dry out a little bit, and then I soaked it in a little bit of oil, put it in, and it worked like a charm. So let's see if I can fire this up with one hand. I've already pumped it up. careful. Alright, there she goes. Let it kind of get going here. And you leave this lever up for about a minute. Let it burn a bit. As you can see, the pipe that the fuel's running through is running over the burner. So you kind of have to give it a little time for that to start gasifying. And then you flip her down. And she does a little bit of that for a while. She's a little finicky. But once you get her going, just takes a minute for it to warm up. I could probably do a little more cleaning on it, but I'll get her going there in a second. That's still some of that old, it's still got some of that old condensation in the tank. So until it gets going and good and pressurized, it throws off a little bit of yellow flame here and there. But then once it gets going, it pretty well evaporates that condensation out and burns real nice. So, I mean, that's pretty molten. Alright. So she's going, and she's very hot. And then the second burner, just turn this lever on the side to open that up. And light her up. Of course, it doesn't put out as high a flame. It's more of a simmering burner. But you can turn it up simply by turning the first one up, as you can see. So yeah, they're burning good, do real nice. Once I get a tank of fuel through this, it'll do a lot better. It'll be burned in real good. It's just been sitting for a long, long time. But yeah, that's my the Coleman stoves I have, and I wanted to show that I did get them all working very well. It didn't take much, just basically taking them apart and cleaning them. They're foolproof. I mean, you can't go wrong. It's the only thing that can go wrong is they need cleaning or the tank needs to be flushed out. There's not really a whole lot else that can go wrong. Unless you break a part or you have a problem with your pump that's not holding pressure, and typically that'll be that little leather cup. Well, you can buy those at Walmart. So, you know, you can buy parts of these things anywhere. So, yeah. And that's that. Thanks for watching.